one in the Wahhabis came to follow the Salaf, correct? Against that is that Wahhabis don't have the same version of Tawheed as the Salaf. They have a very different version of Tawheed from the Salaf. Now, let me prove that. The two most common claims that Wahhabis make regarding the Salaf having their version of Tawheed are Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Tabari. The reference for Imam Abu Hanifa is linked in the pinned tweet. Yeah. Now, the issue with the claim that Wahhabis are making is that this reference does not even mention the word Tawheed. The Wahhabis are using this to claim that the Salaf has their version of Tawheed, yet the
Um,
Wahhabi
Proof. We asked
discusses
you to
the
bring the
claim is
proof, but why
Tawheed.
aren't you providing the
Bin,
proof?
Bin, sorry. I'm gonna look, brother Omar, if you don't mind, as a neutral, can I like run the stream? Because this guy, he messaged me a back channel that he probably proof, yeah. So now me and you, now you and me, but we can actually refute these Wahhabis. We can prove today we're not half Ahlul Sunnah. So this Bin brother, I think he's a top tier hardcore Wahhabi. Right? So let's refute him with arguments, with proofs from Quran and Sunnah and the books of the ones. تفضل أخي.
Let me continue. You said Muhammad Amar al Ashari or whatsoever. You said that the Salafis or the Wahhabis they quote Abu Hanifa and Tabari. So, in which book the Wahhabis quote Abu Hanifa and Nu'man ibn Sabit al-Zuti and Imam Abu Ja'far ibn Jarir al-Tabari? What is your sources and what are your religious credentials? Tafadhal.
I'll address both these points. Firstly, as for the books they are quoting, I don't have specific references for now. I don't need specific references because this is one of the most common claims make on Twitter. That's because you're lying about it. That doesn't change reality. The Salafis make this claim again and again, and the problem is this reference does not even have the word Tawheed. So how can those Salafis claim does not have a leg to stand on? But second point, what credentials do I have? I am a layman. But problem with that is my being a layman does not refute any of my arguments. My not speaking Arabic will not make anyone in the Salaf have 20 Tawheed. My not speaking Arabic will not turn Najd into Iraq. Yeah? So my learning or not learning Arabic has no bearing on reality. Now,
Allahu Akbar Zahar al Haq. So let us continue. First of all, the thing you made two contradictory claims. You said, I am here to prove. And then when we asked you to prove, you did not provide any source. Coming to the second question, you said you have no religious credentials, you are a layman. So, as per the usul of munazara and usul of debate and discussion, it is clear cut that a person should know bain al musawa'at. So, your question whether the Wahhabis are Sunnis or not, this is known as in the language of Munazara, this is known as what we can term as a dawa. That means your claim. So, what is your claim? Is your claim ta'rif, taskhis, or tashri? Which one of this is your dawa? This is my question.
okay, I'll address both those points. Firstly, I did not contradict myself. Just because I am trying to prove something, that doesn't mean anyone else being convinced or not convinced is irrelevant. Something is proven regardless of me being convinced or anyone else being convinced. For example, let's take a counter example. Let's say Wahhabis are arguing for a point they are correct on, right? I don't think that's possible, but let's hypothetically imagine that. Now, let's say Wahhabis make argument after argument proving this point. The other guy still isn't convinced. So just because the other guy isn't convinced, that has no bearing whether the argument is valid or not. It can't have a bearing. Secondly, on the point of me having credentials, right? I don't have credentials, but that doesn't refute my argument. And more importantly, Salafis cannot pick and choose when they follow the traditions when they like and when they don't follow it when they don't like. And most of the Salafis here are laymen. They are not scholars. They might know Arabic, but they are still laymen. They are not scholars. So again, you can't respond to my arguments. So you're whining about me making arguments. I mean, how much of a pathetic and wahabis get.
Again, you are beating the same bush. We asked you the proof, what is your dawa, and you said Twitter is my dawa. You did not provide a single book or a single source except of the Twitter. Coming to Arabic, learning Arabic or not Arabic, that is not from the religious credentials. It is a part of religious credentials, but it is not the only source of religious credentials. When we talk about religious credentials, we mean the ulum. The ulum, which ulum have you studied? And with a layman, you should know that the ulama from Karna Ula, Thaniya, Thalitha, Warba, Khamsa, and all the ulama from all these 14 centuries have asked that a layman should never discuss or debate. He cannot debate. A person who is a layman, he has no right to debate, just like a layman has no right to interfere with the science conferences, with the medical conventions, with any sort of field. Why? Because he is a layman. He is null and void. He has nothing, no concept. So if you are a layman, you don't have any concept of religious science, usul al-hadith, ilm al-fiqh, ilm or rijal, or any
Bin
sort
Bhai,
of
can
ilm.
I ask you a question? So, Bin Bhai, do you think Muhammad Ammar is Muslim?
That is a different issue. We would make a room on it, whether he is claiming or not,
I
but
just
that is
had
a
a ping
different
from you
case.
that Muhammad Ammar Adil is not a Muslim. So, look, I don't want to be instigate between you guys, yeah? But can we, instead of this, can we have the arguments, the lies
Yeah, that's why I'm saying
from both sides?
to
And
just
what's the
ask him
point
to
in
provide a
As
single
far as
source
I know,
from
Muhammad
which
now
book.
Ammar, like,
getting
he has a good
points?
following. Like, he's one of the known guys. He's famous for refuting Wahhabis, burying the cult. So, let's get back to the main point.
So the thing is that let please ask him to provide a source from which source he is quoting that the Wahhabis are quoting Abu Hanifa and they what Abu Hanifa and At-Tabari. Please, tafaddal.
Okay, firstly, as for the point about my credentials, again, I am a layman, so are the most Wahhabis here. Why are they making arguments? So that point doesn't stand. If we go by that, all the most of the Wahhabis should delete their accounts, just like I should delete my account in that case. But we are not going by that. Secondly, if I am a layman, right? If I was making claims like Tawheed Rububiyyah is correct or not correct, or what aspects of Tawheed, blah, or whatever, yeah, then I would be wrong. But I am not doing that. I am just quoting the scholars, yeah. So I am doing what a layman should do: listen to scholars. I don't make claims out of my own ass. I just bring the scholars that we both accept. Secondly, the point about the reference about Imam Abu Hanifa is given there explicitly. I'm not just quoting a random guy's tweet on Twitter without any reference. The explicit reference that Salafis use is given there. That reference does not have the word Tawheed. If it does not have the word Tawheed, how can Salafis use it to claim that Imam Abu Hanifa had their version of Tawheed? That one doesn't make sense. Uh, these are the 2 points. As for Imam Tabari, the point about in Surah 7, Ayah 56, people can go check this. Again, just because you don't believe, that doesn't mean people can't go and check the references. If I'm claiming a reference says that, then people can go check the references. Now go check Surah 7, Ayah 56. Surah 17, Ayah 56. Imam Tabari explicitly says mushriks made mushriks took Lord beside Allah. If they are taking Lord beside Allah, how can they have Tawheed in Rububiyyah?
So I will repeat my words again, third time. You said that the Salafis and the Wahhabis they quote Abu Hanifa. Which Salafi, which Wahhabi has quoted Abu Hanifa and this passage? Tafaddal.
And again, I respond to this point. Just because you make a claiming claims that saying that no Wahhabi says this, or that Wahhabis don't make this claim, that doesn't make it true. Wahhabis make this claim a lot. It is one of the most common claims. In fact, the only common claim other than Imam Tabari that
Which Wahhabi has
Hadith use.
claimed this?
Ben, I didn't interrupt you, right? So don't interrupt me. This is one of the most common claims that Wahhabis make on Twitter, or on Twitter in general, that Imam Abu Hanifa has their version of Tawheed. This shows, and they use this reference for it. This shows that they don't have their version of Tawheed. Secondly, about Imam Tabari, if you have more references for the Salaf having your version of Tawheed, go on, bring them. Hassan, do you speak Arabic? Hassan?
Can I respond?
I do, I do.
Okay, then bring a reference. Respond to it.
Which reference, brother?
First of all, you are Muhammad Ammar. My question is, are you a ma'ane or you are a mu'allil? Tafadhal.
Brother Muhammad Ammar, what reference did he say?
He didn't bring a reference. Secondly, to address that point, I am a layman, so I don't know those
Okay,
things.
okay, give me a
But
second.
how does that prove anyone in Salaf has your version of Tawheed? Because I am bringing scholars, I'm bringing the claim Salafis make, the most common claims, and showing how they don't prove the Salafi claims. So again, which reference are you bringing for the Salaf having your version of Tawheed?
Just want to say one more thing, yeah. Shabazz, don't be a keyboard warrior in audience. If you're a man, come on stage, yeah, 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 and defend your beliefs, your Wahhabi deviant beliefs, my friend. Yeah,
Bro, I don't need to actually prove anything to this idiot, to be
okay,
honest with
but
you.
before
He
you go,
can, yeah, but
I just read the reference in Arabic. Yeah, I'm a Muhammad Mar, you're
I
right.
don't.
You're right.
No.
Don't pin him down, he likes speak, it's okay.
Okay. Does any Salafi have a reference they want to bring?
Reference regarding what? First, your question. You are indebted towards my question. Are you a ma'ane or you are a mu'allil?
I responded to that question. I am a layman, so I don't know those terms.
Then
Now,
how can you
that's
debate?
my point. Okay, then we don't waste my time.
Then another question.
But Muhammad, bin Bhai, don't kick him down. Muhammad Amar, I think if you wanna refute them, you should let him speak, brother. You know, we don't need to be harsh like Wahhabis. That's what they do, man. They kick people out and that. So let him speak.
Okay.
Like,
So Amar, then another reference which you quoted.
yeah.
So we are asking you. You said that the Wahhabis quote Abu Hanifa, and they said this. So bring us which Wahhabi book quotes Abu Hanifa in this.
Yeah, Mar, I've already refuted you, kid.
Yo, start relax, bro. Be civilized. No, Ben, what he's saying is,
I'm
you know
civilized.
the pin link, right? Some
Yeah,
guys
Ustad,
actually
you didn't
mentioned Abu
refute
Hanifa.
this. You, in fact, lied about being a Deobandi before the debate, and you lied about your position on Istighasa before the debate. I'm just showing the proof right now that actually
Okay,
are images of
Hassan,
our
I'm going to cross
responses.
examine him. Nobody will
Yeah.
interrupt me. Okay, I'll cross examine you. That 2 minute thing is over. I want to cross examine you. What do you understand by realism and essentialism? Good, answer. Can you guys hear me? I'll count till three.
Yes, we all.
What do you understand by realism and essentialism? Three, two, one. Nigga, you don't understand the Maturidi Usul. The Maturidi Usul is built on realism and essentialism. So you don't know shit about the Maturidis. So don't claim to be a Maturidi. And now I'm going to ask you another question. What do you understand by nominalism? Okay, you don't know this also. So you don't know the Athari
No,
Usul.
we don't start.
Now hold up,
Listen,
Hassan,
number
man.
one.
1 minute. I'm going to
One
correct
second.
examine.
1 second.
He doesn't
No, no,
even
one
know
second.
anything.
My
Jahil.
friend, listen. Number one, please don't use any foul language. Number two, we're not talking any philosophy in this room. Yeah, I
He
personally learn
claims
a
to be a
lot.
Maturidi, so I will
Forget about
cross-examine
that.
him on that.
Here's the thing, yeah. Brother Muhammad Amar, the Wahhabi slayer, when he came in this room, I've been here for like 2 hours now. He said the Wahhabis they don't follow Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Yeah, that's what we're speaking about today because we can't jump from here to there, right?
Okay, I'm a
You know your
Okay,
Wahhabi.
whole
is this the
approach.
Let me.
topic?
I'm a Sunni
This room,
Hanafi Wahhabi.
1 second, my friend. Let me speak. This room was invaded by a bunch of Wahhabis. Okay, everyone is here asking different questions. Okay, we stick to. I say to Brother Ammar, we stick to Wobblers and they creed going back to Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal.
Okay, I'm a
That's
Mm.
the
Hanafi. I will be a Wahhabi for a minute. Okay. So, did Imam Ahmad did tafweed? Answer me, Ammar. Did Imam Ahmad do tafweed? Tafweed al-ma'na.
1 second.
Did Imam Ahmad do
Brother
that?
Ammar, if you're there, can you mute my eye? Did he say he did not? He did not believe in Tafid.
No, no, he can answer for himself.
It's all busy, like looking through some books, maybe in his library. Let's give him
Nah,
some
nah.
chance.
Me and Ammar, we agree that we cannot use primary text because he's a jahil in Arabic and I'm also a jahil in
I'm
Arabic.
here.
So
I
we
can do
cannot
that.
use
I
that
can
as a
translate
dalil.
it for you guys. Like,
You'll translate Arabic for us?
behave before I kick you down.
Okay, you'll translate Arabic for us, Hassan? Okay, okay, no issues.
I can't.
I'll wait for him to come back. So, so forth, so on, we have established that Ammar doesn't know anything about the Maturidi Usul, nor the Usul of the Mutakallims. So he's not a Maturidi, nor an Ashari, and he doesn't know the Usul of the Athar, Usul of the Hanabla. So he's Jahil on both the schools.
So if his claim, what is the actual claim that the Salafis follow the creed of Imam Ahmad? So I am here to provide the sources for Imam Ahmad and to represent the creed of Imam Ahmad. Let him challenge me with regards to
Yeah,
the creed
good,
of
good.
Imam Ahmad.
We waiting
And
for our
I'm
brother Hamad.
representing Imam Abu Hanifa and the Ahnaf, and we're going to demonstrate that this guy is not a Hanafi nor a Maturidi.
We can speak about this. Let the Sheikh Muhammad Ammar al-Pakistani come back. You know, it's probably busy.
Whether the Sheikh Rawalpindi comes
He might
or
be in
not.
toilet or something like. We never know, right? Emergency. You can knock on the door anytime. But in the meantime, Ben,
Hmm. So now let me tell you about the Asanid and the school of the Hanabila, how, from where it evolved and what are its religious credentials. The Imam Ahmad's usul were based upon he took the narrations from and the athar of Ahlul Medina as well as Ahlul Iraq, thus reconciling between the position of the Ahnaf and the Malikis, as well as took the usul of hadith, that is the usul of Imam Shafi'i, because Shafi preferred hadith over the practices of Medina, while Malik preferred the practices of Medina, while Abu Hanifa preferred the practices of the Ahlul Iraq. So Imam Ahmad combined all the three usuls. So with regards to the religious credentials of the Hanabila, we have from al-Mu'minin Aisha Siddiqa, Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab, Abu Huraira wa ibn Umar. From them we have Kharija bin Zayd, Sayyid bin Musayyib, Sulaiman bin Yasar, Qasim bin Muhammad bin Abi Bakr, Abu Bakr bin Abdul Rahman, Urwa bin Zubair, Araj bin Abdul Rahman. From them we have their students Abu Zanad, Imam Nafi, Imam Zuhri, Imam Rabi'. From these four we have Imam Malik. From Malik we have Imam Shafi'i. From Imam Shafi'i we have Imam Al-Mujabbal, Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So now moving from Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, we have Muhammad bin Hajjaj al-Marwazi. From him, Imam Abu Bakr Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Harun al-Khallal, who is known as Imam al-Khallal. From him, Imam Abu Bakr Abdul Aziz Ja'far bin Ahmad al-Khallal, who is known as Ghulam al-Khallal. From him, Imam Abu Abdullah Hussein bin Hamid al-Baghdadi, known as Al-Imam al-Baghdadi. From him, Imam Abu Ya'la Muhammad bin Hussein al-Qadi Baghdadi, who wrote Tabaqat al-Hanabila. From him, we have Sheikh Mahfuz bin Ahmad Khalawazani and Al-Imam Ibn al-Aqil, as well as Sayyid Abdul Qadir al-Ghailani. Mahfuz bin Ahmad al-Khalawazani, you have his student Abu Bakr Ahmad bin
brother
Muhammad bin
Ammar,
Ahmad
can you come out now?
al-Daynawari.
Ammar, are you back? I know you there, bro. Yeah.
So we have
Just
established the
Let me
truth, Alhamdulillah.
I'll address these points. Yeah. Firstly, he was quoting a chain of Hanabila, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You are not
No, 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 no.
hanbalis.
Let me first complete because I was just on Abu Bakr Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Ahmad al-Daynawari, because now I have to prove the current Salafi school and its origins to Imam Ahmad, because that is what Hassan told me. So let me finish. From Imam al-Daynawari, you have Nasr bin Fatahan and Nasr bin Fatahan. He also studied from Sayyid Abdul Qadir al-Ghailani, and he was the teacher of Al-Imam Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Qudama, known as Imam al-Qudama, Muwaffaq al-Din al-Qudama, who has a book on Aqa'id known as Lumat al-I'tiqad. So this is the valid proof of the Asaris and the Salafi Aqidah by Imam Ibn al-Qudama, who was made successor by Abdul Qadir al-Jailani 50 days prior to his death by giving him the book Al-Khurmi. This is what Imam Ziyauddin al-Maqdisi also testified. From Imam al-Qudama, we have Muhammad bin Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Qudama. Then we have Shaykh al-Islam, al-Imam Ibn Taymiyyah. Then we have Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim. Then we have Imam Ibn Rajab. Then we have Sheikh Ali bin Muhammad al-Hammam. Then Sheikh Abdul Rahman bin Sulaiman bin Abdul Karim al-Salihi. Then Sheikh Ali bin Sulaiman al-Mirdawi. Then Sheikh Ahmad bin Abdullah al-Uskari. Then Imam Ahmad bin Ahmad al-Shawki. Then Imam Musa al-Hajawi, the founder of the Hajawi, or the what you can say the Syrian school of the Hanabila. Then we have Imam Ibn Mufleh. Then Imam Muhammad Badruddin Bani. Then Sheikh Muhammad bin Abdul Baqi al-Bali. Then Sheikh Abdullah bin Ibrahim bin Saif. And he was succeeded by Sheikh al-Islam al-Mujaddid al-Da'wah, al-Imam Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab bin Sulaiman al-Tamimi, who had a number of students such as Sheikh Abdullah Ali Sheikh, Sheikh Ali Ali Sheikh, Sheikh Hussein Ali Sheikh, Sheikh Hassan Ali Sheikh, as well as Sheikh Hamad bin Nasir al Muammar, Sheikh Abdul Aziz al Hussein, Sheikh Abu Bakr bin Hussein ibn al Ghanim al Ahsai, Sheikh al Taradi, Sheikh al Dawsri, Alullahu Maqamuhu al Sharif, as well as Sheikh Abdullah bin Salim al Baghdadi, as well as Sheikh al Hashimi.
Okay.
So, so the
Start.
whole chain
Now you have to
we have
MashaAllah.
so the
Ammar, do you even know the names that been by took
Start.
in the
Start.
chain?
we,
Listen.
shut up,
we have
Ustad.
provided the whole
What's my turn?
Okay, start. I have to get down. Sorry, yeah, you too.
1 minute. We have
Okay.
provided the whole chain of past 1400 years from Imam al-Mujaddid Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab till Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal until Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi
Okay.
wasallam. Then we can even trace from
Okay,
current
Ben.
scholars.
Now
For
he's going to
example,
respond. You know.
yeah, but let me first finish the current scholars
Then
also, because I
how
do
much
not
time will you
want
take?
to take
How much time will you take?
this.
I mean, normally you should
First of
just
all,
keep quiet after
I
2
have
p.m.
taken 4 minutes
How much
Okay,
time
to
will
Ammar,
you take?
recite
just
all
let
the.
him finish. Let him finish. Yeah. Come.
I have taken 4 minutes in reciting the entire chain, so you should be thankful to me for reciting you, because for you I provided you the entire chain, that too unbroken chain.
Okay, Ben.
بالتواتر.
Finish your chair, then you respond.
So okay, if he does not want me to present the current scholars chain, go.
Go on,
Bismillah.
Muhammad
Tfaddal.
Ammar.
Okay. Firstly, naming a chain doesn't do anything unless you give proofs, right? You can just name
Yes.
anything
Yes.
and
Yes.
now, firstly, he mentioned Ibn Taymiyyah and all of that and every single scholar. Let's go to Imam Ibn Qudama, right? Since he's a major scholar in his chain. Imam Ibn Qudama, and the reference is linked. I've already linked the tweet for where the reference is there. Yeah, Imam Ibn Qudama says the way of Imam Ahmad is tafid. He negated meaning. Yeah, we don't know the meaning of those ayat, the mutashabihat. So Imam Ibn Qudama is doing tafid. Firstly, secondly, Imam Ibn Qudama did istighasa. If he's a authority, then Salafis are wrong, or if Salafis are right, he's a mushrik and not an authority. There is no middle ground here. Either Imam Ibn Qudama is an authority, in which case he's a in which istighasa is correct, istighasa is not shirk, and tafid is way of the Salaf. If he's not an authority, then Salafis cannot use him. There is no way around this point. Thirdly, as for the point about this Ibn Taymiyyah, Ustad Ibn Taymiyyah, this guy claiming that he refuted me. Firstly, again, this clown, the entire debate was basically about whether Tafsir Ibn Kathir was tempered. You don't need 7 references for that. Anyone can go check Darul Salam's Tafsir Ibn Kathir. Check the translation of Surah 7, Ayat 54. This guy tampered, the Salafis have tampered that. There is no way around this point. But more than that, this guy, Ustad Ibn Taymiyyah, this guy lied to me before the debate about being a Deobandi and about position on Istighasa. Before the debate, he said Istighasa is not shirk. After the debate, he was claiming Istighasa is shirk. And you don't need to take my word for that. The tweet I have linked has pictures of our correspondence. Yeah, you can go check that. And he is explicitly saying Istighasa is not shirk before and Istighasa is before, shirk after. And these guys lied about being the Deobandis. This guy lied about being a Deobandi before the debate. In the debate, he became a Wahhabi. How much more pathetic and Wahhabis can be?
Let's not talk about individuals, yeah? Can you speak with the chain and Tafsir ibn Kasir?
So let me first respond to the argument. He
Let me
said
finish the point.
because
Don't interrupt me. Why are you interrupting me? I was quiet during your time,
Yes,
correct?
yes, yes. تفضل brother Hamar. Sheikh تفضل.
Now, as for the point about the chain, I just gave it one example of Imam Ibn Qudama. Naming a chain proves nothing. So I have addressed that point. Now I'm addressing the claims that Ibn Taymiyyah, this clown Ibn Taymiyyah was making. Right? These are explicit references. The reason I'm bringing specific references is important because this guy was claiming he refuted me. But understand this point and how much these guys are afraid of me. These guys, while lying to me about being Deobandi, lying to me about their position of Istiqasa, still was too scared to record the debate. How much more pathetic and Wahhabis get
Okay, but
now? First,
No offense, yeah. But like I said, why do you need to talk about certain individuals? The good and bad people are here, right? Should we talk about chain? Being recited here, a whole chain from Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal till Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, yeah? So can we speak about that? You know?
we can speak about that,
This
and
room,
I
this,
attest that.
listen,
The
Sheikh,
reason,
this room is, bro, I know you're a student of knowledge. I have a lot of respect for you, right? I personally call you Wahhabi Slayer because I seen them running away from you. But this room is on replays. Yeah? Yeah? So let's talk about the Ibn Kasir. When you said they were not on the same manhaj as Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Zahabi and all that. Let's talk about that. You know?
okay,
Who cares about such individual? Ustad is a troll. This guy's a known troll, so don't entertain him, Mahi.
okay. I addressed Imam Ibn Qudama and the point about chain not proving anything. Ben, do you want to respond to that?
so first of all, you said that chain does not prove anything, but the usul of Muslimin bi ijma' al-salasa is that the whole religion depends upon the chain. Even the Quran, which we recite, has the chains. The Qiraat from which we recite is does have its own chains. The Hadith all depend upon chain. The usul, the manhaj, the munazara, the fiqh, all comes from chain bitawatur. Because if the chains do not matter, then the whole religion becomes a dustbin. This is
Okay,
the my
can I
answer.
say
And
something? So before you guys joined, Amar, what did you say about the feet? Did Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal believe it or not?
Yes, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal believed this.
The
But
feet, yeah. And you
just to
said,
clarify one point, just
mhm,
to clarify one point about chains. Chains are important, yeah. In matters of deen,
yeah,
they are
yeah.
the most important thing. But they don't prove what bin claims they are proving because people in the same chain can have different beliefs. So he can't use one chain to just say they have the same beliefs. And I gave an example of that with Imam Ibn Qudama. Imam Ibn Qudama is saying, doing tafweed, he's saying that mushriks, he did istighasa. Ibn Taymiyyah is not doing istighasa, he's against istighasa, right? So two people on the same chain have such contradictory beliefs. How can you use a chain to claim that all of them have the same beliefs?
So I want to reset the room for everybody. Brother Muhammad Ammar al-Baghdadi, he said Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal believed in Tawheed, but today's Salafiyas or Wahhabiyas, they don't. Okay? And his point was, I'm going to prove that they're not on the same creed as Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. That's why he said. So can we speak about this bin instead of going around circle talking about one thing, then another one, then here and
yeah,
there?
yeah. So the best thing is who is more knowledgeable about Imam Ahmad, the one who was born 450 years after Imam Ahmad, or the five persons who directly took from Imam Ahmad? This is my question.
Uh, okay, I'll address that point. Firstly, that depends on the individual cases. Again, we have to check is what's more important, what Imam Ahmad says and what the other the people after Imam Ahmad says. Imam Ahmad said, what Imam Ahmad says is important, right? The references I have linked have Imam Ahmad doing the feed specifically. Yeah, and those narrations are authenticated by three scholars like Imam Ibn Qudama, Imam Qadi Abu Yala, Imam Abu Fazl al-Tamimi. If those scholars are authenticating it and they are authorities in the field, either they are authorities or they are not authorities. If they are not authorities, okay, admit they are not authorities. Don't waste everyone's time. If they are authorities, then take from them. They are saying they are quoting Imam Ahmad doing the feed. If he is doing the feed, then you don't have a leg to stand on unless those narrations are not authentic. In that case, but problem for you is that three scholars, major authorities in the field are authenticating those narrations. If they are authenticating those narrations, that means they are authentic. So, which is it?
So first of all, the question itself is contradicted. The guy, the Shaykhana or whatsoever, he said that Ibn Qudama did tafweed, and now he is saying the Asri scholars like Ibn Qudama said this. So a person who does tafweed, he cannot be a Athari. This is a clear-cut evidence. So the onus of proving Ibn Qudama, whether he was an Asari or whether he was a Mufawwid, lies upon Ammar, because earlier he said that Ibn Qudama was a Mufawwid, and now he is saying that Ibn Qudama is an Asari. So which one shall we take? Was Ibn Qudama Athari or was Ibn Qudama a Mufawwid? Coming to Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, to his two sons, Imam Saleh and Imam Abdullah, Imam Abdullah wrote a book, Kitab al-Sunnah. So what book is authentic? Is Kitab al-Sunnah written by Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal's own son, Imam Abdullah, authentic? Shall we take that, or shall we take someone who came 450 years after Imam Ahmad and says that Imam Ahmad did tafweed? Or shall we take Imam Ahmad's own book, handwritten book, Usul al-Sunnah?
I'll address these points now.
Or shall we take the book of Imam Barbahari, Imam Barbahari's book, Sharh Sunnah? Between Imam Barbahari and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, there is only one person, Imam al-Marwazi. So whom shall we rely? Shall we rely upon Imam Marwazi, who was the teacher of Imam Barbahari, and Barbahari wrote Sharh Sunnah? Shall we rely upon Imam Ahmad, who wrote Usul Sunnah? Shall we rely upon Imam Ahmad's son, who wrote Kitab Sunnah? And my question is, have you read any of these three books? Kitab Sunnah, li Imam Abdullah ibn Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Sharh Sunnah, li Imam Barbahari, Usul Sunnah, li Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, or As-Sunnah by Imam Al-Khalal, As-Sunnah by Imam Al-Khiraki? Which one of these books have you read?
I'll address these points now. Each of them. Firstly, you claim there's a contradiction between someone being a Mufawwid and someone being an Athari. That's a lie. Al-Threes are Mufawwid. There would be a contradiction between someone being a Muthbit and someone being an Athari, firstly. So that whole point is just nonsense. That's just you assuming your claim. Secondly, the point about burden of proof. Burden of proof is on the one making the claim. I am making a claim, you are making the claim. You can't just assume your claims are correct unless you prove them. Secondly, if we are going by what's more common or rational or reasonable or common knowledge, right? Wahhabis don't make 5% of the Ummah. They would make 3% probably. How can you claim your claims are more authoritative or more common, or the other side is burden of proof based on that? That's just nonsense. Secondly, I named major three authorities in the like Imam Ibn Qudama, Qadi Abu Yala, uh, Imam Abu Fazl al-Tamimi. These are major three authorities. They are saying Imam Ahmad did tafweed. These are recognized authorities. Either take from them or don't. But if they are authorities, then Imam Ahmad did tafweed, and they are authenticating those narrations. Secondly, there are a lot of applications with regard to Imam Ahmad. The book Kitab Sunnah, I'm pretty sure in the last debate, Wahhabis themselves were saying, second last debate I had them with them, that book is fabricated. The book Kitab Sunnah by the son of Imam Ahmad. So bringing random works doesn't work. Thirdly, Fourthly, actually, when you Wahhabis go to a text of the Salaf, right? They are making their own share of it. Where we listen to Athari scholars, the scholars in the field, they say themselves explicitly that Imam Ahmad denies the literal understanding, that we don't know the meaning. Imam Ahmad is doing tafweed. So why should we not take from the major Hanbali authorities like Imam Ibn Qudama, like Imam Abu Fazl al-Tamimi, like Qadi Abu Yala, like Imam Ibn Kathir? He explicitly says that Salaf did tafweed. Why should we not take from them? Address these points.
First of all, in the last, when you finish, you said that major Hanbali authorities, you mentioned Ibn Kathir. So Ibn Kathir was a Shafi, not a Hanbali, to be more correct. So you should correct your knowledge regarding Imam Ibn Kathir. He was not a Hanbali, but he was a Shafi. Hmm? Then on the other hand, you said Imam Kitab al-Sunnah by Imam Ahmad son is fabricated, and Wahhabis have themselves accepted this. This is a lie. The only difference is regarding a Rad, a chapter, that is a Rad ala Abi Hanifa. And the people whom you quoted, Qazi Abu Yala, who wrote Tabaqat al-Hanabla, he himself mentions in the Tabaqat regarding this book, Sunnah by Imam Abdullah ibn Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Regarding Ibn Qudama, he also mentions the book. So the two people you mentioned, Ibn Qudama and Qadi Abu Yala, they both have mentioned and authenticated this book, Kitab al-Sunnah. So you cannot cherry pick, say that they were, and another thing, you said they are the Athari scholars. On the other hand, you are saying that they did tafweed. So are they tafweedi or are they Asari? Either you think we are mad or you yourself are having some mental issues. First tell whether Ibn Qudama and Qadi Abu Yala, what were they? Were they Asaris or they were Mufawwid? If you are saying that they were Asaris, then how can they be Mufawwid? And if they were Mufawwid, then how can they be Asaris?
Firstly, Imam Ibn Kathir was a Shafi. You are correct on that. What I meant was Athari authorities, not Hanbali authorities. You guys claim Imam Ibn Kathir is an Athari, so he said that the way of Salaf is tafweed. Secondly, about that book, Kitab al-Sunnah, major Salafis have admitted on multiple occasions that the book has major issues. Yeah, and some have even said they are fabricated. More than that, just because again they quote Imam Ibn Qudama and Qadi Abu Yala, yeah, they say that there is a book Kitab al-Sunnah. That does nothing to show that the book Kitab al-Sunnah that Salafis are using is that book. There are still major issues with the book. I mean, there are differences about many other works like Imam Ashari's works. Some of them even they are mentioned in the mentioned by scholars, but that doesn't mean the works they are mentioned are the same as the works we have. That point doesn't make sense. More importantly, you are saying there's a distinction between being an Athari and being a Mufawwid. You are not bothering to prove this claim. In fact, I have specifically disproven this claim because I brought those three authorities, Qadi Abu Yala, Imam Ibn Qudama, and Imam Abu Fazl al-Tamimi. All of them saying the way of Imam Ahmad and is tafweed. So either take from them or don't take from them. Uh, Again, address these.
So this would first to apply this to yourself, because Ibn Qudama himself wrote Kitab al-Sunnah by his own manuscript, and Qazi Abu Yala himself mentioned this and himself wrote. Whatever Ibn Qudama wrote and whatever Qazi Abu Yala wrote is what Imam Abdullah has written and what has Rad ala Abi Hanifa. So either take this or take that. You should apply that first to yourself. Coming to the three people you mentioned, Qadi Abu Yala or Ibn Qudama or At-Tamimi. So shall we take them or shall we take Al-Khiraki, Khalal, Abu Ja'far, Al-Baghdadi, Abu Hamid and Ibn Battah? Those who directly studied with Imam Ahmad Al-Maruzi, Ibn Battah, Al-Khalal, Ibn Hamid, or those who came after 200, 300 years after Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. When Imam Ahmad's sons say something and a person 200, 300 years after says something, whom shall we take? What would be Raij and what would be Majru? Tafaddal, answer. If Imam Barbahari says something is Raj and another says something is Majru, whom shall we take? Barbahari or the other guy? And first define what is Raj and what is Majru.
Now I'll address these points like I've been addressing them before. Firstly, me not knowing specific terms that does nothing to refute my arguments. As for the point about layman arguing and all that, all I've already addressed.
Why, please?
Hanbal, Sharah Sunnah. First tell whether Ibn Qudama and Qadi Abu Yala, what were they? Were they Asaris? Tafaddal, answer. If Imam Barbahari says something is Raj and another says something is Majru, whom shall we take? Barbahari or the other guy? And first define what is Raj and what is Majru.
Now I'll address these points like I've been addressing them before. Firstly, me not knowing specific terms that does nothing to refute my arguments. As for the point about layman arguing and all that, all I've already addressed all of that. Secondly, as for who should we take from and who should we not take from, what we should not do in either case is make our own shar and take that as authoritative. We have to listen what the unbelief authorities are saying. All of the three I mentioned, Imam Abu Fazl al-Tamimi, Al-Qazi Abu Yala, and Imam Ibn Qudama, all of them said the way of Imam Ahmad is tafweed. There is no way around this point. Thirdly, as for the book Kitab al-Sunnah, that has problems, major problems. And even then, even if uh, we have to take the share of the book as the scholars are taking, even if we accepted it as authentic for a minute, we still have to do tafweed because Imam Ahmad said to do tafweed, and that narration is authenticated by Al-Qazi Abu Yala, Imam Ibn Qudama, and Imam Abu Fazl al-Tamimi. There is no way around that point. Uh, as for Imam Barbahari and other things, again, the way of the followers of Imam Ahmad had ikhtilaf. There is no issue with that. But according to major Hanbali authorities like Imam Ibn Qudama, like Imam Abu Fazl al-Tamimi, like Qadi Abu Yala, Imam Ahmad did tafweed. There is no way around this point. If either take from those scholars or don't take from those scholars. If you are taking from those scholars and claiming those scholars, then Imam Ahmad did tafweed. If you are not claiming them, then Imam Ahmad didn't do tafweed. But if you are not
Demonstrate
claiming
where
them,
Imam Ahmad did tafweed. Demonstrate
shut
to
up,
me.
Ibn Taymiyyah. Shut up. First respond
Bro,
to the lies.
nigga,
You
you
made up
were
with
you
the
were accusing me of things
Why
which I
can't you
didn't
shut
say.
up? Why can't you let
You
me
got
speak?
spanked, bro. Demonstrate where Imam Ahmad did tafweed.
Yeah,
We'll stick to that
I
point.
didn't just count, you
Demonstrate to
did.
me.
And in fact, you were
Demonstrate
so
where Imam
scared of
Ahmad
me.
did tafweed.
In
Go ahead.
fact, you were so scared of me
I'm not
that
scared of you, nigga. I
despite lying to
debated
me
you and
about being
refuted
a
you. What are you
Deobandi
talking about?
and about your position of our istighasa,
You're
you
not
lied about
Maturidi
both
nor
of these
you're
things.
Ashar. You don't
You
understand
still
their
didn't decide
Rasul.
the debate.
You don't even know what
How much more
essentialism is, bro.
pathetic
You
can
don't
you get?
understand their Rasul.
How much more
First go
pathetic
read
can you get?
first go read
Yeah,
Maturidi Kalam, then come back.
despite
Yeah,
lying to
yeah,
me
what
again and
yeah,
again,
yeah.
you still didn't record the
We'll
debate.
stick to your point.
How much more scared
Demonstrate
your
Imam
can be of
Ahmad did
me?
tafweed. Demonstrate to
How
me. Where
much,
did he do
how
tafweed?
much
From
your
primary
can be
text,
scared of
explain
me?
to me
Despite lying to
where did
me
he do
about
tafweed?
your position, you
Yeah,
still
bro,
didn't record the
go
debate.
to the
How much
chats.
more
I said
pathetic
that
and wrong is that?
if istighatha.
Now, as for Wahabi clowns wasting my time, I really can't tolerate this. I've addressed the 3 points about the Kitab. When Salafis recognize their differences, for the minute we'll take Kitab Sunnah to be authentic. Correct? Still, we have to do tafweed because major Hanbali authorities like Imam Ibn Qudama, Al-Qazi Abu Yala, Imam Abu Fadl al-Tamimi did tafweed. Now address these points.
First of all, prove me that Qazi Abu Yala and Abu Fazl al-Tamimi are the Hanbali authorities. Tafaddal.
Are you rejecting all of them? Imam Ibn Qudama, Al-Qazi Abu Yala, and Imam Abu Fadl al-Tamimi.
Leave Ibn Qudama. Ibn Qudama is an authority, but who told you Qazi Abu Yala and Abu Fazl al-Tamimi are the authorities in the Hanbali? And if anyone told you, bring a reference from which book they quoted.
Okay. Firstly, recognize this point. Both of these major Hanbali authorities are being rejected by it. I don't need to bring for every single thing, especially when authorities are using those scholars as authorities. 1 point. Second point, as for Imam Ibn Qudama is authenticating the same reference of Imam Ahmad doing the feed as Al-Qadi Abu Yala. So this point really doesn't help you. Thirdly, more importantly, Imam Ibn Qudama was doing istighasa. So if he's an authority, then your cult is dead because either he's a mushrik or he's an authority. In case he's an authority, your cult is dead because you say istighasa is shirk. If he's a mushrik, then you can't use him as an authority. There is no third way here. Address these points.
First of all, you brought the claim that Imam Qazi Abu Ya'la is an authority and Abu Fazl al-Tamimi is an authority. So you have to prove from which Hanbali book, from which Hanbali source, from which Hanbali religious authority, marja, have you brought that Hanabila consider Qadi Abu Ya'la as well as Abu Fazl al-Tamimi as the source of authority. Coming to Ibn Qudama, what is Ibn Qudama's position in the Hanbali mazhab? He is taken as a source of fiqh, and not Majd ibn Taymiyyah, as well as Imam ibn Muflih and Imam ibn Taymiyyah. These four personalities are taken by the contemporary Hanabila as the sources of law. Are you getting? With regards to Aqidah, we stick to the positions of Barbahari, of Al-Khallal, of Abu Hamid al-Baghdadi, of Imam Karaki, Maruzi, Imam Ahmad's son, and Imam Ahmad himself. These are the positions. Saying about the Tafweez, when Imam Barbahari rejected Tafweed, Ibn Battah rejected Tafweed, Khalal rejected Tafweed, Khiraki rejected Tafweed, so who else are we going to take? When Sharif Abu Jafar al-Hashimi rejected, when Imam Khalwadani rejected, when the Maqdisis rejected this, so Maqdisis are the authority.
Can I address these
So
points
the
now?
onus of proving that Abu Qadhi Abu Ya'la is an authority, so you have to bring, when Imam Ibn Rajab wrote Dhiyal, Zail Tabaqat al-Hanabila, did he mention Qazi Abu Ya'la is the authority? No. When Ibn Humayd al-Najdi wrote the book Suhub al-Wabila, did he mention that Qazi Abu Ya'la is the major authority of the Hanabila Aqidah or the Hanbali fiqh? Did he mention that? No. Did Ibn Bassam wrote? Did Abdurrahman ibn Aba Batain wrote? No. You cannot provide any single source. So please provide source or say that, okay, you were mistaken. Qazi Abu Yala and Abu Fadl al-Tamimi are not the sources of the Hanbali madhab. Just take the words back and say that Ibn Qudama is the source taken by the Hanbalis in terms of fiqh. Just say this. It is not difficult or different. It's as simple as we can say.
Can I
So please.
address these points now?
Yeah. Bismillah.
Okay. Firstly, just because you are making claims, just because Salafis are lying about who is an authority and who is not an authority, that doesn't mean my claims are false. Imam Ibn Al-Qazi Abu Yala and Imam Abu Fazl al-Tamimi are major Hanbali authorities. There is no amount of lying and whining will change that. Firstly. Secondly, as for Imam Ibn Qudama, if he is an authority, then your cult is wrong because he is doing istighasa. Firstly. Secondly, he said the way of Imam Ahmad is tafweed. Thirdly, about fiqh, and since you brought up Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali and Imam al-Zahabi, let's add Imam al-Zahabi for this matter, although he's a Shafi, so okay, we'll ignore him. Add Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. He explicitly
Ibn Rajab and Ibn
proved.
Muflih.
I'll address Ibn Rajab right now. He explicitly went away from Ibn Taymiyyah's beliefs. In fact, he was hated by the followers of Ibn Taymiyyah because of this. I've already linked the references for this in the threads I gave earlier. Anyone can go and check this point. Fourthly, let's agree for a minute, right, that earlier Hanbalis, quite a few of them, had Mujassim tendencies like Salafis too. Let's agree with this point. I've already given references for where many early Hanbalis, including Imam Ahmad, did tafweed. How do we know which one is correct, which one isn't? There's a very simple way to know. According to Ahadith, the safe sect is supposed to last from the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam till the end of time. Do the Mufawids do that? Yes. We have scholars between Ibn Taymiyyah and after Ibn Taymiyyah who are Mufawwid, between Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Abdul Wahab. Do Muthbit scholars exist at that time? Very little. In fact, we have no claimants. Salafis, there is no one that Salafis can claim as a Mujaddid in that time period between Ibn Taymiyyah and qarn shaytan. Let's take one example. Let's take Ibn Qayyim for example. He was not alive during the year 800. He was alive during the year 700, but he was not alive during the year 800. So he cannot be a Mujaddid between Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Abdul Wahab. Let's take Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. He moved away from Ibn Taymiyyah's position. He can't be a Mujaddid for Salafis. Let's take Imam Ibn Kathir for example. He is in North Tafsir is saying the way of Salaf is Tafweed, and he's saying Mushriks made shirk in Rububiyyah. So he can't be a Mujaddid for Salafis in that time period either. Let's go to another point. Let's go to Imam Mari al-Karmi. He was doing istighasa. He was praising Ottomans. If Ottomans are mushriks according to Salafis, if Imam Mari al-Karmi is praising mushriks, what is he according to Salafis? But more than that, Imam Mari al-Karmi did tafweed. In fact, he was being criticized by Salafis for the tafweed. So Salafis have no scholars between Ibn Taymiyyah and qarn shaytan. Now understand why this is important. We have multiple ahadiths which say that the safe sect is supposed to last from the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam till the end of time. But we can clearly see the scholars with these beliefs, the Mujassim tendencies, don't exist between Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Abdul Wahab. If they don't exist for a particular time period, they necessarily cannot be the safe sect. There is no way around this point. Even if we have early some early Hanabila who had Mujassim tendencies, they still wouldn't be correct for one simple reason. They don't last between Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Abdul Wahab. There are no Wahhabi scholars between Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Abdul Wahab who can be claimed as Mujaddid or even scholars in general, because after Ibn Qayyim the movement basically died out. This is the problem for Salafis. If you don't have scholars in that time period, your sect cannot be correct necessarily. The conclusion necessarily follows from the premise. If the safe sect is supposed to last from the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ till the end of time, yeah, then the safe sect cannot be for any moment of time absent. With Wahhabis, the safe sect is absent. And let's say you use Imam Ibn Qudama as a Mujaddid for a time before Ibn Taymiyyah, for the century before Ibn Taymiyyah. He did this istighasa. Your cult is dead either way. Let's go to the point about Salafi version of Tawheed. That's not present before Ibn Taymiyyah. Even if you have some people categorizing Tawheed, they have major problems with those scholars as well, why they can't be Mujaddid. It can be very easily argued. Now address these points.
First of all, you said there is no scholar for the Salafiyah between Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Abdul Wahab, which is a current lie, absolute lie, blunder, which I already have quoted all the scholars from between Ibn Abdul Wahab and Ibn Taymiyyah. I quoted whole that isnad, and it is on the replay are on. Anyone can check when the replays would be available. Now, coming to another isnad of the Asari Aqidah and the Salafi Aqidah, let's leave the chain of Ibn Abdul Wahab and Ibn Taymiyyah. Let me quote you direct chain going to Imam al-Bukhari. 1 minute. We have Al-Imam, the Mujaddid who died last year on the
You have
18th of
3 minutes. I won't let you go on for 10 minutes.
wait, because I did
You
not
have 3 minutes.
interrupted you. So Al-Sheikh Qazi Al-Amrani, Muhammad bin Ismail Al-Amrani, Allah Maqamu Al-Sharif, who passed away last year. He was student of Sheikh Ahmad bin Muhammad al-Zibara al-Tabatabai, who was student of Qazi Muhammad bin Yahya al-Ayriani, as well as Sayyid Hussein bin Ali al-Amri al-Tabatabai. Both were students of Sheikh Ismail bin Muhsin al-Ansari and Sayyid Muhammad bin Ismail al-Kibsi al-Tabatabai, who both were students of Imam Muhammad bin Ali al-Shawqani, and he was student of Sayyid Abdul Qadir al-Kawkabani al-Tabatabai, who was student of Al-Imam Ibn al-Amir al-Sanani al-Tabatabai, who was student of Sheikh Salih bin Mahdi al-Mukbili Muhajir Makki, who was student of Sheikh Hussein bin Ahmad al-Jalal al-Tabatabai, who was student of Sheikh Muhammad bin Ibrahim ibn al-Wazir al-Tabatabai, who was student of Sheikh Muhammad bin Abdullah ibn Zuhair al-Makki, who was student of Sheikh Jamaluddin Ibrahim bin Muhammad al-Lakhmi, student of Sheikh Abul Abbas Ahmad bin Abi Talib al-Hajjar, who studied from Sheikh Shirajuddin Hussein bin Mubarak Zabidi, who studied from Sheikh Abdul Awwal al-Sajzi al-Harawi, who studied from Sheikh Abdul Rahman bin Muzaffar Dawoodi, who studied from Sheikh Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Hamawi, as well as Sheikh Abdullah bin Ahmad al-Sarkhasi, both who studied from Sheikh Muhammad bin Yusuf Farberi, who was student of Al-Imam al-Bukhari, and al-Bukhari was student of Makki bin Ibrahim, and Makki bin Ibrahim was student of Yazid bin Abi Ubaid. Yazid bin Abi Ubaid took knowledge from Salma bin Aqwa, who was a student of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. So this is the another chain. Leave Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Abdul Wahhab. I quoted you this chain. So prove me this chain is not authentic or any fault in this chain. Then I can also prove you from the Al-Ahdal family. The Al-Ahdals, the Ahdali scholars of Yemen and Saudi Arabia, are the progeny, and Sheikh Umar Al-Ahdal, who took from Sheikh Muhammad, his father, who took from his father Sheikh Suleiman, who took from his father Sheikh Ubaid, who took from his father Sheikh Isa, who took from his father Sayyid Alvi, who took from his father Sayyid Muhammad, who took from his father Sayyid Hammam, who took from his father Sayyid Muhammad, who took from his father Sayyid Hassan, who took from his father Sayyid Hussein, who took from his father Sayyid Ali Ayun, who took from his father Musa, who took from his father Sayyid Ja'far al-Zaki, who took from his father Sayyid Ali al-Hadi, who took from his father Muhammad al-Taki, who took from his father Ali al-Rida, who took from his father Musa al-Qazim, who took from his father Imam al-Jafar, who took from his father Imam al-Bakir, who took from his father Imam Zain al-Abidin, who took from his father al-Imam al-Hussein, as well as Jabir bin Abdullah Huzaifa ibn Yamman, and many other scholars. This is the another chain which I forwarded you. Then we can provide you the chain of Al Salman family. Al Salman took from Muhammad, who took from Yusuf, who took from Ali, who took from Ismail, who took from Hussein, who took from Hassan, who took from Ibrahim, who took from Nasir, who took from Ali, who took from Saleh, who took from Isa, who took from Abdullah, who took from Jafar, who took from Musa, who took from Jafar, who took from Muslim, who took from Jafar, who took from Muhammad, who took from Muslim, who took from Muhammad, who took from Musa, who took from Ali, who took from Jafar, who took from Hassan, who took from Musa, who took from Jafar, who took from Imam Musa al-Kazim. Then we can provide you another chain by Imam Ibrahim al-Tanuki, who took from Imam Ahmad bin Abi Talib
Your
al-Hajjar, who
3
took
minutes
from
are up.
Imam al-Sajzi, who took
Your
from
3
Hussein bin
minutes are up.
Mubarak al-Zabidi, who took from Abdul Awwal al-Dawoodi, who took from Abdullah al-Sarkasi, who took from Abdullah al-Farbari, who took from Imam al-Bukhari. So how many chains do you want?
I'll bring him up after my 3. Now, since he spoke for 3 minutes, I'll speak for my 3 minutes. Start. Firstly, as I have pointed out earlier, pointing out a chain does nothing, and I gave a very simple reason for that. Imam Ibn Qudama was doing istighasa. Ibn Taymiyyah was against istighasa. So we are two people in the same chain who have completely opposite beliefs. This does not prove bringing out chains. We can name many chains. That will not prove that the Salafi beliefs are the Salafi beliefs are present in that time period. Secondly, he dodged the specific examples that I brought. The scholars he can bring up as Mujaddid in that time period. Imam Mari al-Karmi, he was doing istighasa, he was praising Ottomans, and he was doing tafweed. If he is doing tafweed, if he is doing all those things, how can that be a proof for Salafis? It can't be. For the other scholars he mentioned in that time period, okay, where's the proof of them being mutbit and all of that? He needs to prove that, not me. If he's not me, if he's going to claim that these scholars are they have Salafi beliefs, he needs to prove that. No amount of whining will remove the burden of proof. I am giving specific references why Imam Abu Fadl, why the scholars between Ibn Taymiyyah and that time period did not have three beliefs. As for Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, go check the references. He abandoned Ibn Taymiyyah's views. That's why the Salafis hate him. The Salafis of that time period, the wahabis of the time period, the followers of Ibn Taymiyyah, they hated him because of this, that he abandoned the ways of Ibn Taymiyyah. In fact, Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali was defending Imam Subki's takfir of Ibn Taymiyyah. Imam Ibn Rajab did not takfir Ibn Taymiyyah himself, but he was defending Imam Subki's takfir of Ibn Taymiyyah. Would Salafis defend a guy who takfired Ibn Abdul Wahab? Would Barelvis defend a guy who takfired Ala Hazrat? Would Deobandis defend a guy who takfired Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi, they wouldn't. It doesn't make sense. So those scholars did not have Wahhabi beliefs. And I gave reasons for why they don't have Wahhabi beliefs. A lot of reasons. Yeah? Now I address the point. No, what he didn't do, I addressed the point about chain. I addressed the point about Imam Ibn Qudama. Again, we can see istighasa is widely present uh, in the Hanabila because we can see Imam Ibn Qudama doing istighasa. Another major Hanbali authority, Imam al-Khawlati al-Hanbali doing istighasa. We have Imam Safarini, who was the most important Hanbali scholar alive at the time. He was doing istighasa. So we have major Hanbali scholars doing istighasa, and these are clearly in a time and place where there are other Hanbali scholars present, right? So if those scholars are present there and these are doing istighasa in front of them, why would those scholars takfir these scholars who are doing istighasa? Why would the Hanbalis alive at the time takfir Imam Safarini, who was clearly doing istighasa? My 3 minutes are up.
First of all, you mentioned Al-Imam As-Safirini in the last when you cut. So let's focus on Imam As-Safiri. Have you read the book Ad-Durar al-Mudhiya of Imam As-Safirini? Answer yes or no, because then I have to later on continue whatever you said. Just brief, you can interpret me. Just say, have you read Durar al-Mudhiya or any book of Imam As-Safirini? Yes or no, please answer.
No.
Okay, in Al-Durar al-Mudhiya, Imam As-Safirini says that Ahlus Sunnah are Ashaira, Maturidi, and Hanabila, Ahlul Hadith, Asariya. And then in the same Ad-Durar al-Mudhiya, he says Ahlul Najiya wal Firqatul Najiya, the one who would be delivered from the Jahannam. Najiya, Najat, jinko Jahannam se milega. Out of the saved sect, he only mentions Ahlul Hadith. Why are this contradiction in Ibn, what you can say, Imam As-Safirini? While mentioning the saved sect, he mentions that the saved sect is only the Athariya and not the Ashaira, Maturidiya, and Mufawwid. And for the reference is Ad-Durar al-Mudhiyya of Imam. And now another question. You said whatever I mentioned between Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Abdul Wahhab, what is the source and how should we know that they are musbit? So for them, you should read the book, clear-cut book, As-Suhub al-Wabila by Ibn Humayd, the Grand Mufti of Mecca for the Hanabila during the Ottoman times. Then you should also read the book Al-Unwan al-Majd by Imam Abu Bakr Ibn Hussein al-Ahsai al-Maliki. Then you should also read the book At-Tariq by Imam Ibn Bassam, and also At-Tariq al-Hanabila by Imam Ibn Ababutain, to know what is muthbit and what is not. And then most famous Tuhfa al-Medina by Allama al-Imam Muhammad bin Nasir al-Muammar al-Tamimi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, known as Shaykh al-Alam. Then I can tell you with regards to leave the Yemeni chain also, leave the Tamimi chain also. I would give you the chain directly to Hassan al-Basri from non-Tafwizi chain. As-Sayyid Muhammad Hussein al-Kashmiri, he took from Sayyid Muhammad al-Kashmiri, who took from Sayyid Nazir Hussain al-Dahlawi, Shah Ishaq, Muhaddis al-Dahlawi, Shah Abdul Aziz, Muhaddis al-Dahlawi, Shah Waliullah, Muhaddis al-Dahlawi, Sheikh Abdul Rahim al-Faruqi, Sayyid Abdullah, Sayyid Adam, Sheikh Ahmad, Sheikh Yaqub al-Sarfi, Khwaja Hussein al-Khwarizmi, Khwaja Fazlullah Mashhadi, Khwaja Muhammad bin Siddiq Tabaristani al-Koboshani, Khwaja Ali Bayzawari, Sheikh Shamsuddin Bayzawari, Sayyid Abdullah Barzishabadi, Khwaja Ishaq Khatlani, Mir Sayyid Ali Hamdani. And Mir Sayyid Ali Hamdani wrote his books. You can read his book Al-Awrad al-Fathiya, Al-Awrad al-Asiriya, where he and his son Mir Sayyid Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Shahabuddin al-Abidi al-Husayni, who wrote Risala Sikandariya against the Ashaira and Mufawwida. And Mir Sayyid Ali Hamdani wrote his book Zakiratul Muluk, denouncing the Tafwiz as well as the Ashaira and the Kalamiyun, as well as
My
he
three
wrote his
minutes are up.
Fathiya. And Mir Sayyid Ali
Your
Hamdani took
3 minutes
from
are up.
Sheikh Mahmud Malkani, wait 1 minute, who took from Khwaja Alauddin Simnani, who took from Sheikh Jorjani, who took from Sheikh Ali Lala Majduddin Baghdadi, who took from Najmuddin al-Kubra al-Azhar.
Like, like I said, his 3 minutes are up. Now it's my turn. I'll start my timer. Firstly, Again, quoting chains does nothing unless you prove those scholars have those beliefs. I gave a very simple example for this. Imam Ibn Qudama did istighasa, Ibn Taymiyyah was against istighasa. Now we have two people in the same chain who have extremely opposite views, directly opposite views. Yeah, according to Salafis, Imam Ibn Qudama is a mushrik. So, quoting a chain does nothing to prove that they have same beliefs. Now, he mentioned Shah Waliullah, which I thought was really funny because Shah Waliullah, Imam Shah Waliullah did istighasa. More than that, he had an ijaza in Nade Ali. This is a very common fact, and that is condemned as shirk by Salafis because of the istighasa and other things in it. In fact, he's a chain of major scholars in Nade Ali. So, how many scholars are mushriks according to Salafis that they are using as authority here? Yeah. Now, as for the point about all these chains, basically the Wahabi dodged a very simple point here. How many of them have Salafi versions of Tawheed? He can't prove that. In fact, I gave very specific reason why scholars before Ibn Taymiyyah didn't have this version of Tawheed. I gave reasons why no one in the Salaf had this version of Tawheed. He can bring scholars who said mushriks made shirk into mushriks had Tawheed in Rububiyyah before Ibn Taymiyyah. If he has a, he can bring those references, but he is not bothering to do that. As for the point about basically the books he mentioned that say that way of Atharis is they are basically like Ibn Taymiyyah, Mujassim tendencies, right? Check the references I've linked in the pinned tweets now. Ibn Taymiyyah is saying everyone except him is misguided. Yeah, that reference is there. I think it's from Majmu al-Fatawa. I'm pretty sure it's there. This is regarding the attributes of Allah. So if Ibn Taymiyyah himself is acknowledging that everyone other than him at time is misguided, even his forefathers he mentioned are misguided, how can he have a three beliefs? I mean, how much will these guys keep lying? But more than that, Ibn Abdul Wahhab recognizes that scholars before him are misguided at this time period. Now understand this point. This Ibn Taymiyyah, Ustad Ibn Taymiyyah guy, right? In our last debate, this coward claimed that half of Atharis are Muthbit and half are Mufawwid. Understand half of the Atharis take Ibn Taymiyyah as authority. I'm pretty sure he said this. Now understand the problem with this point. Ibn Taymiyyah is saying his fellows and his previous scholars are misguided. Ibn Abdul Wahab, who has similar beliefs, is saying that his fellows and his previous scholars are misguided. How can Ibn Taymiyyah be an authority for Hanabila if his own students, his fellows, and people before him all reject his beliefs? This point doesn't make sense. It cannot make sense. Oh, my 3 minutes are up.
So let me respond. You said regarding to Imam Ibn Rajab. Which book of Imam Ibn Rajab have you read? Have you read a single book of Imam Ibn Rajab? Answer. Interpret. Hmm. Say. Have you read?
I will not address this now. I'll address it in my time.
Okay. So Imam Ibn Rajab in his book the Dhail Tabaqat al-Hanabila mentioned about Imam Ibn Taymiyyah and his great teacher Imam Ibn Qayyim, and he praises Shaykh al-Islam Imam Ibn Taymiyyah in his books, in his writings, and every fatwa. And then he wrote a book, Shara of Sahih al-Bukhari, Fath al-Bari, where he quotes Imam Ibn Taymiyyah as well as the grandfather of Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, who is known as Majd Ibn Taymiyyah, and the uncle of Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, Fakhruddin Ibn Taymiyyah. And coming to the thing of since he quoted Sheikh Mari bin Yusuf al-Karmi, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, Sheikh Mari bin Yusuf al-Karmi praised Ibn Taymiyyah and all exclusively mentions Ibn Taymiyyah as his Sheikh, Sheikh al-Alam, my Imam. Similarly, you have Sheikh Imam Musa al-Hajawi. He also, whenever he mentions Sheikh al-Islam, it means that he only mentions Ibn Taymiyyah. Outside Ibn Taymiyyah, he has not even used this word for anyone. Whenever he meant Shaykh al-Islam, Imam al-Hajawi, it means Imam Ibn Taymiyyah. So coming to the thing that Imam Ibn Rajab denounced Ibn Taymiyyah, it is absolutely false. Coming to the thing that the Salafis don't take from Imam Ibn Rajab, which is absolutely a blunder, because Imam Ibn Rajab is a major authority among the Hanabila and among the Asiris and among the Salafis. And he was a musbit, not a mufawwid. His books are available, and if the Amar guy has read a single book of Imam Ibn Rajab, let him bring a single book of Imam Ibn Rajab which he has himself read and from whom he has read. Because I can say from whom I have read the books of Ibn Rajab, from whom they have read, from whom they have read. And similarly, with regards to the Imam al-Safiridi or Imam al-Shati or others who were during that time, during the Ottoman and the Saudi period, we can bring their references and whatever they believed and whatever their aqaid were and what they were.
You have 30 seconds.
Go answer. And the major
Okay.
contributors we
Okay.
currently have are Al Aflaq, Al Feroz, Al
That I
Sulaim, Al
know.
Jami, Al Sahim, Al Shati, Al Kadumi, Al Taglibi, Al Safirini, Al Rajihi, Al Barkawi, Al Nasri, Al Abdur.
Yeah. I don't get why he's interrupting me. Firstly, again, this guy isn't addressing any of the references I'm bringing. I quoted Ibn Taymiyyah and his Ibn Abdul Wahab both saying that basically the scholars before them and with them are misguided, right? They have different beliefs from them. So that point doesn't is a point about referencing random books does not hold weight any weight at all. Secondly, Imam Mari al-Karmi did istighasa, did tafweed, praised the Ottomans. None of that was addressed. I don't get why he's dodging those points. Thirdly, my knowing or not reading a particular book does not nothing to refute the references. Here I've given a specific reference of Imam Ibn Rajab, left issuing fatwa according to Ibn Taymiyyah. Go check the references. Again, he's talking from his ass, I'm talking from references. Every single point I've made has been referenced again and again. Check these points. Imam Ibn Rajab left Ibn Taymiyyah's views. Let's go to those who followed him in creed, right? Like Imam Zahabi. He differed from him in creed. There is explicit references for that. I've already given references for Imam Ibn Kathir doing tafweez and saying mushrik made shirk in rububiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah's own students did not follow him. And these guys want us to believe that people around him followed him. As for the point about certain scholars praising Ibn Taymiyyah, yeah? Certain scholars did praise Ibn Taymiyyah. I'll give one Ashri example. Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani called him Shaykh al-Islam. Okay, we have other scholars who condemn Ibn Taymiyyah. So we have scholars who praise Ibn Taymiyyah. And we have scholars who condemn Ibn Taymiyyah. How do we differentiate between them? How do we see who is correct? We go by hadith. The Wahhabis have Ibn Taymiyyah's beliefs, correct? We can refute them through numerous hadiths, like I've been doing through the entire time. And that shows that Ibn Taymiyyah's views were not correct. He wasn't correct. Now, funny thing is, and this is actually quite funny, Ibn Abigal is the guy who's sure of Aqidah Tahawiyah. These guys read in their books. He himself said Mushriks made shirk in Rububiyyah. So the biggest defenders of Ibn Taymiyyah's creed, the guys who are following him, the guys Salafi have to rely on for the share of Aqidah Tahawiyah. Those guys are saying Mushriks made shirk in Rububiyyah. I mean, Ibn Taymiyyah's own direct students from the same century, no, not direct student, from Ibn Taymiyyah's followers from the same century as him, were opposing him in creed. How does any of this make sense? How does this, this just refutes Salafis beyond any reasonable doubt. Ibn Taymiyyah, while he was a respected scholar, he had major mistakes, which is why actual authorities like Imam Ibn Rajab left him, like the reference shows. If he wants to come up, I'll invite him. Ben. I send him an invite.
When you keep on sending somebody down, yeah, you can't raise him up, so don't kick him down.
He interrupted me again and again. What am I? He can leave and then come back, and then I'll invite him if that will help. I'm actually inviting him to speak, so I don't know what's going on. Hassan, invite him. I am trying to invite him. It's not working for me. You should try to invite him.
Do you want me to invite him?
Okay, invite him. You are a moderator now. You can invite him.
Yeah, don't kick him down.
Assalamu alaikum. So
Walaikum
my
assalam.
question is, who wrote Majmu al-Fatawa? This is my question. Then my another question is with regards to leaving issuing fatwa according to some is different, and leaving person is something different. Where is Ibn Rajab buried? This is my question. Number two, where is Ibn Rajab buried? What were the last words when Ibn Rajab was on his deathbed? When the people asked him where should he be buried, what did he said, as mentioned in Suhub al-Wabila by Ibn Humayd, Qazi Ahl Makkah? This is my reference. Where is Ibn Rajab buried? Where is Ibn Kathir buried? Where? And what were the last words of Ibn Kathir when he was asked where he should be buried? And what are the words of Ibn Rajab when he was asked where he should be buried? So where are they buried? Ibn Kathir, Ibn Rajab, where are they buried? And with regards to who wrote Majmu al-Fatawa of Ibn Taymiyyah, who wrote it? And who wrote Durar as-Sunniyah? And has Brother Ammar read any of these books personally? And if he has read, from whom he has read? Durar as-Sunniyah ala Jawabat al-Najdiyah, because there is another Durar as-Sunniyah Radd ala Wahabiyah. Similarly, Majmu' Fatawa, there are many Majmu' Fatawa. One Majmu' Fatawa is Majmu' Fatawa li Ibn Abi Taymiyyah. So which Majmu' Fatawa has he read? Compiled by which?
Uh, can I address my points now?
No, I will address some points. You liar, bro. You
You
misrepresenting our
spineless bitch.
position.
You are proven a liar. You don't get to whine.
Where? Prove to me how I'm a liar.
Yeah, I already linked the references for you being a liar. Anyone can see that now. I'll start my 3 minutes. Okay, I'll start my time now. As for the point about me reading those works again, I haven't read those works, but my reading those works does nothing to change the references. How can it? My reading a work does not have any bearing on it, so it cannot change the references. Secondly, where Imam Ibn Rajab is buried, or where Imam Ibn Kathir is buried, or what were their last words, how is any of that relevant? I don't know where they were buried. Why would I care? Why would anyone care? Why would not we go to the works of actual scholars, those scholars, and see what their beliefs? And Salafis are using Tafsir ibn Kathir, right? They are claiming that's authoritative for them. Then listen to what it's saying. It's saying the way of Salaf is tafweed. It is saying that that mushriks made shirk in rububiyyah. There is no way around these points. As for Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali and him leaving fatwa according to Ibn Taymiyyah's beliefs. Again, if he left issuing fatwa according to his beliefs, did he stop issuing fatwa at all? No. He was issuing fatwa according to the normative Hanbali beliefs. So, he's clearly abandoned the views of Ibn Taymiyyah. That's clear cut from this. There is no way around this point. That is explicit that Ibn Rajab abandoned the views of Ibn Taymiyyah. So he wasn't following him. Just because someone respects someone doesn't mean they agreed with him. In fact, we have Maturidi scholars who praise Ibn Taymiyyah, quite a few of them. Yeah, does that mean they are Athari, not Maturidi, or they are Wahabi, not Maturidi? No, that one doesn't make sense. Again, one thing that hasn't been addressed in the entire debate basically is that he named a massive chain, right? Multiple massive chains.
Listen.
Not
Can I?
any
So
of them.
sorry to interrupt. Okay, there's a problem in how you guys are talking, right? When you consider the references you give as a
Yeah, don't interrupt me. Secondly, as for the point about Majmu al-Fatawa, right? Ibn Taymiyyah's Majmu al-Fatawa, there are multiple Majmu al-Fatawa, but the only Majmu al-Fatawa that would be relative is the one that Ibn Taymiyyah was using. Otherwise, why would I bring it up? I mean, are Salafis really getting that desperate? Now, Bin can respond to the points.
Faisal, you're such a dummy, bro. Why didn't you mod me?
are you crazy? Shut up.
Why are you so scared, Ibn Taymiyyah? Why
You
are you
nigga,
minding Ustad?
listen, you've been calling me
You
spineless, bitch.
bitch!
If I see you, I will
You
beat you,
lied!
man.
You are
Listen
a
to me,
spineless bitch!
let me speak,
I
bitch.
see you, I'll kill
Hold
you!
up. You have been
You lied
accusing me
about
of
your
lying.
beliefs about Istighasa.
Nah,
You
go
lied
read
about
the
being
chat.
a
I said that
Bali.
Istighasa is Shirk
Funny
al
thing
Akbar.
is,
Read the chat,
funny
bitch.
thing is, when
Read
you
it.
lied,
You
you
have
were
the
too
screenshots
scared
and you
to
cannot read
report
it,
the
dumb
debate.
bitch.
You
Now
even,
time of debating is
even
over, you
after lying
dummy.
to me
I
about
have
your
been
beliefs
refuted
about
you.
Istighasa,
You don't know
about being a
anything. You're not a
Bali,
Maturidi,
you
not
were
an
too
Ashar.
scared
You're
to
a
debate
Jahil.
me.
You don't know how to read primary text. You use WordPress, nigga. You cannot even.
हाँ आ रहा हूँ ऊपर. In any case, this has been going for 2 hours. I'll end the room now. I have to go. Unless anyone, I'll just end the room now.